Hi everyone, so today I'm going to make a simple card and it's going to be made from scraps. So let me just explain. So I don't know about you, but I store all my scraps with my full-size pieces of cards. So these are like pocket envelopes that I store all my A4 cardstock, and I put the name and the product number. And as I use the cardstock, I put the scraps in with it. So this is how I store all my cardstock. This is all my just basic white, and I have a basic white thick as well that I do exactly the same. So as I use the basic white usually generally to stamp on or layer, I put all the extras in the front. And I do exactly the same with my designer series paper. So this is the beautiful Hues of Happiness paper, and you can see I've got all the scraps in the front. The reason for this card is because also on my desk I've got this box where I've been cutting out flowers and things from the Hues of Happiness. I've got a couple of random ladybugs and flower and that kind of thing, and any kind of little bits that are left over from projects I put in this tray, which I keep literally here on my desk. So again, I've been trying to work my way through this when I've been, designing ScanNCut cutting file cards, and I've been using various bits of Stampin' Up product as well to run alongside those cards. So I've got this box, as I say, on my desk, and I had a look through it and I could see that there was this kind of deep blue, which I think is Night of Navy. So I pulled that out. I've got a couple of leaves that were in the box as well, so I pulled those out. And then I came to my Hues of Happiness, and lying on the top was this blue paper here, which has got like the flowers on the other side, and this was a longer piece, so I've cut a piece of that off, which was for scrap. And then I looked at this paper and I could see that there was green in it, and I've already got the green for the leaves, and I could see that there was yellow in it, and the yellow's a Daffodil Delight. So from my scrap pack, I pulled out this thin strip. The background in this paper's Night of Navy. So I pulled, again, this was slightly longer, I've just cut it down. I'm going to see how all this looks. I may cut this down more, I may leave it as it is. And then from my white scrap, I looked at the Happiness Abounds, which is a stamp set that goes with this suite, and I saw this greeting here, wishing you all the happiness you can imagine. So I've pulled that and put it on a block, and then I got my stitched rectangles out to see which one of these this would fit on, and it's the second from the middle in this big set. This is how they come on in your packet. I've just put mine onto a magnetic sheet, and that will fit this greeting like so. So they're the elements. So the first thing I'm going to do is stamp the greeting. I've kind of got an idea in my head. I'm using Night of Navy ink, and I'm going to ink this up, and I'm going to stamp it over on the right hand side of this rectangle. So that's my greeting. So just put those on one side. So for my base card, I've got a piece of basic white thick, which I've cut straight down the middle on the 8 1/4 side. So this is 4 1/8 by 11 3/4. I've scored it and folded it, and I'm going to have it this way. I saw this layout, I think it was on Pinterest, I can't remember. And I honestly don't know whose layout it was, but it's a nice simple layout. I've kind of done similar before, so I just thought we'd go with it. So my thinking is, I'm just going to keep my basic white completely plain. I've got this piece of Night of Navy. I'm going to put my white layer over the top of it, and then I'm going to put this piece of designer series paper just kind of like that. I might actually keep this piece of blue as it is. And then I've got this piece of yellow, which I'm going to put kind of, I don't know, maybe like so. Then I've got my flower and my leaves. So let's see what we've got. So this piece of Night of Navy, if you want to follow along, is 1 3/4 by 4 1/2. The designer series paper is 2 by 3.5. And as I say, this was a strip that was a bit longer. So basically what I did, I kind of knew that I wanted to put this, you know, vertically, and this is 4 1/8. So that's why I kind of just chopped this down to 3.5. And I actually think that's a decent size. And then as I say, we've got the second from the smallest in the stitch rectangle. So the first thing I'm going to do is stick this to this, and that just gives me a base. And I'm going to stick it over on the right hand side, and I'm just going to stick it centrally. And if you want to know what size this rectangle is, it is 2 3/4 by 1 3/8. Okay, so 1.5 would do if you wanted to cut it just from plain paper. So my thinking is I'm going to put that fairly centrally to my card. But what I actually want to do before I just stick that fully down is I want to kind of slide this underneath, I think. So I'm actually going to just peel that back a bit. Should have done that before I stuck it down. So I want to kind of go something like that. So let's put some glue on the back of here. Slide that into there, and then I'll just apply some more glue just to stick that down. So that's how that's looking. And then I'm going to stick this on here, a bit more glue, and that's going to go kind of like that, I think. I've got a little bit of glue overhanging there, but it's fine because I'm going to cover it up with a flower. The flower's going to go on there. I'm going to pop the flower up on dimensionals, and I'm just going to use some black dimensionals just because they were handy in my drawer, and this is dark paper after all. So let's see how this is going to look. So I'm going to pop that like so. Then the leaves will tuck in underneath. But before I do that, let's have a look at this. My thinking was I'm going to get my paper snips, and I'm just going to cut up the middle and make this into like a flag end. And that's going to go, I think, like that. So I'm just going to cut this off here as straight as I can. So I'll give you an idea. This is 5 1/4 by 1/2 inch. And I might actually pop that up as well on dimensionals. And being as though I've got the black dimensionals out, I'll use those. So this is all bits of scraps that I either had on my desk or in my cardstock folders. So I'm thinking something like that. And then my leaves can tuck underneath. So this just gets rid of a few more scraps that are on my desk. Let's put the lid on that glue. So this tiny little bit can go back in either my little bit on my desk or back in the Daffodil Delight folder. In fact, I'll probably put it back in the folder, so that can be used again. And then just to kind of tie it all together, I'm going to open the card up. I'm going to use one of the flowers from within the Happiness Abounds, as I say, which is all part of this suite. And I'll use Night of Navy. Just going to ink this up, and we'll have that just overhanging the inside, so it kind of pulls it all together. So that's today's card. So basic white, Night of Navy, Daffodil Delight, and some of the green leaves out of the paper, which I can't remember. I think, is it Granny Apple Green? Yeah, it's Granny Apple Green, the green. And then it says, wishing you all the happiness you can imagine. And then when you open it up, you've got the flower inside. So I think just for a little bit of added extra, I'll bring in my embellishments and my take your pick tool. And let's see what we've got. Let's go with a few basic rhinestones, I think, just for a little bit of bling. And one down there. So that's it, that's today's card. Nice simple layout, would be easy to reproduce if you were needing to make several, because you can literally cut all your bits at once and then just assemble. But as I say, these were all bits of scrap taken from each of the cardstock folders and the designer series paper, and the flowers that, you know, I've got on my desk. I've got lots more flowers to make lots more cards with. So I hope you like that video. Please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you don't already do so. Please share with any of your crafty friends if you can do, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.